The song has the phrase up, up, up. And I love that because it's part of it's just part of who I am. I always want to be leveling up. Guys, I'm really struggling making content today. I've made over 2,000 videos, but even just trying to get my camera set up today was a real struggle. And so I thought today I would shoot a video just to talk about motivation, as well as where my company is in 2025. My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. In the past couple of years, I've had a big transformation, both physically as I've changed how I appear, the way I look, the way I feel. I had a hair transplant, which was very successful. I had jaw surgery, which changed my entire appearance. I lost 45 pounds. I started testosterone replacement therapy. My testosterone was low, very low, like 200, healthy male at around 900. And I started exercising. I started putting on muscle, 187% stronger today than 2 years ago. And it's been a really good physical journey. This is what it's like and why I go on hikes with people and meet people all over the world is because you can't do this through a computer screen, right? You have to go out and start and do something hard. Pain leaving the body is just weakness leaving the body, right? No pain, no gain. And you got to start somewhere. Right now, though, the mental journey has been very difficult. Going through a litigious divorce, very hard time in my life. And every time I go to try and sit down and shoot a video or try and, remake the studio, it's like a dragon that needs to be slain, but you don't even know where to start. And of course, the answer to that is just get started. It doesn't matter how you do it. So that's what I'm doing today, right? Like I'm forcing myself to talk on camera and to do that because after you have been in the weeds and in the trenches for 7 years, so My Amazon Guy, 7 years, 7.5 years, it's been a really good ride. It can get to a point where if you get off that horse, it's hard to want to get back on. So I'm going to talk about some of my successes and frustrations today. One of the biggest successes I had is installing Noah Wickham. And if you go over to our leadership page on the My Amazon Guy website, Noah Wickham is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing. I put him in charge of sales at My Amazon Guy just about a year ago to the day. And Noah and I were in Colombia backpacking, and he got really sick. He was throwing up, got a bug, and had to ride a donkey to get to the top of the lost city. And it was a very difficult journey for him. And I had wanted to go on that trip with him because I saw him as a future leader. He was a brand director. And by the way, pulling a brand director and putting him into a different department in an agency is a little painful because there's a lot of client attachment to that director. And that director is in charge of 40 employees. Very hard to rebuild a 40-person department by taking a good employee and moving them somewhere else. Because usually when you have a good employee there, they've got tough clients. They have complicated situations that they're currently managing. So I made a choice. I had a vision, and I thought to myself, I'm going to put this guy in charge of sales. Noah had no prior sales experience. When you're a visionary or a founder of a company and you start telling people what you want to do and they look at you and they're like, why? And I said, well, I previously tried to hire 2 sales directors and failed, and brought in outsiders, and both failed for similar reasons. And I knew I had to put an insider in. And so I thought to myself, well, based on the people I currently have, who's most qualified? And Noah came to mind. And the reason I wanted to do that is because every position in the company needs to be 3 deep to a seat. Structurally speaking, if you want to have your company outlive you, which I've wanted from day one, even though I'm having a hard time right now, and it's very relieving to have this, just structurally speaking, it's something I've always wanted. I've always been the sort of person to build a 3 deep to a seat system so it's infinitely scalable. I constantly replace myself. I'll build a system, I'll delegate it, and then I'll move on to the next problem. And then the sales team has always been reliant upon me, and it was wildly successful. I also was never in charge of sales before, but the founder sales advantage is a thing where I make content, people get on a call with me and they're like, oh, I like what you say on YouTube. I've already bought into your system, take my money. And that's a great system, by the way, for other people who are trying to mimic or duplicate a process that I've been successful at. I made my agency guy and started selling some of my agency SOPs. Unfortunately, it's no longer making money. We're shutting it down. And this is part of the Jenga strategy at MAG in 2025. So Jenga, if you're familiar, you take blocks out and then you put them back on top, and then it gets complicated because the taller the tower gets, the more imbalanced it becomes. Well, the thing about Jenga is you can't just keep putting blocks on top. You have to take one out first. And that's the thing that we're undergoing right now. So the company's been static year and a half now, coming up on 2 years soon. And I'm trying to figure out, how do I get past this current ceiling? So a lot of interpersonal challenges, company staticness are all hitting at the same time. And when the CEO is highly distracted, and I very much am, I've always wanted my company to succeed because of me. I've never had the imposter syndrome, but what I do have right now is I'm worried that the company is succeeding despite me. And I don't get that feedback from anybody. That's an internal feedback mechanism that I come up with myself. And it's because I've been at so many damn companies where I was the one making the company succeed despite the CEO. I have a bad feeling about that. Like, I just don't want that ever to happen at my own company. That's been my current demon or battle that I've been trying to slay, so to speak. And speaking of demons, the Demon Slayer Netflix movie is incredible. The Golden Song, I think, is the song of the year. And the reason I even mention that right now is because it's in my head playing rent-free.
I lived 2 lives, try to play both sides, but I couldn't find my own place.
And one of the key phrases in my life is leveling up. My current motto, my passion, I actually paid the Simon Sinek guys, the Start With Why guys, to help me select this motto, is leveling up life to accelerate prosperity to the world. And the song has the phrase up, up, up. And I love that because it's part of just part of who I am. I always want to be leveling up. And when my company's static, it feels like I'm not leveling up. And it's frustrating. But there's been a lot of good initiatives this year. I've been able to spend the last almost 60 days in Cebu. I met with 63 of my employees at the Cebu dinner, gave away thousands of dollars in merchandise away to the staff there, including mice and keyboards and rice and other things that local Filipinos appreciate. And I've really fallen in love with the Pinoy culture and a lot of great things. The commuting is awful here, traffic galore. Being able to have that work from home aspect to the company and help Pinoys avoid a 3 to 4 hour commute and be able to work from home, spend more time with their families has been quite rewarding for me. I also was able to launch a Smile campaign where I helped employees. I gave everybody worldwide, 500 employees, no matter where they are, the ability to go in and get a free dental cleaning, as well as get any cavity or tooth pulled this month. And I put a hard deadline on it. I wanted to motivate people. I wanted people to get in and take care of it. And so we've been able to see a lot of smile pictures this month, and I've been really excited about that. I really have been pushing a fitness culture and health initiatives, and I wanted to make it real. Maybe this might be the top. It's not. Still gotta go higher. She hasn't started swearing yet, so dig deep. Dig deep. Some weeks I'll post like, hey, if you want to do push-ups for cash, you do 87 push-ups, I'll pay you $87, but only one of you can do 87 push-ups. So the next guy, they have to do 88 or 89, et cetera. And anybody could participate in that because the 3 and the 4 push-up people, they could still participate in that sense. And so it was one of those things where it's competitive, but also allows everybody to participate. So I've done a lot of things like that: smile campaigns, push-up campaigns, burpee campaigns, and exercise. And our health and fitness channel in Slack is off the charts with lots of participation. It is the most busy channel in our Slack community outside of the general channel. And I've got 500 employees who are engaged in doing those things. And I'm really excited about those results because I wasn't able to grow the company this past year and a half, but I was able to grow my people. And so we've been able to find the right people, put them in the right seats. Very strong executive team right now that I have a lot of buy-in into. They rallied around me while I was dealing with personal issues. But we did make 2 missteps on trying to build out the exec team this year. We hired a marketing director that was a misfire and ended up putting that under Noah Wickham. And then we tried to, get a new IT leader into the company, a VP of IT. I even went down to Cebu and went and hiked with him to try and buoy up that relationship, make sure he was doing okay. And he recently resigned. And so it's like, I got to do another IT rebuild. That has been one of our most floundering departments at my Amazon guy. It's like a subculture within the company. So most of our Filipino staff, about 400 employees in the Philippines, are female, but on the IT team, it's almost exclusively male. And it's not something we chose to do that way. It's just what the workforce looks like. And so they have their own subculture, trying to get a congruent culture across every department, and then also have a subculture that's strong is difficult. And so they're almost an island in a sense. And it's very taxing to run an IT department because everybody wants resources, but you have to prioritize it. And there's just a lot of things that are going all over the place. And then there's this thing called AI that comes out and messes everything up. And then everybody's like, got to get into vibe coding, or our zaps are breaking down over at Zapier. And, we try and figure out where to allocate software resources, a la, et cetera. But I also, a couple of years ago, I have been very public about me trying to get into software. And I spent $2.6 million trying to build software, only to can it and throw it in the trash before launching it. And that is my road less stupid, biggest mistake of my life from a financial standpoint, outside of the divorce, of course. And it's like, man, I wish I didn't do that. And so trying to keep my company from repeating the software eye candy mistake is important to me. But vibe coding seems to be a small shortcut to allow us to get some of that benefit without becoming a software dev facility. So that's been a good win. I tried to gamify the company in the last couple of years and failed on that front. We tried to build an internal video game where people could participate, run tournaments, get rewarded for various aspects. Managers could give equipment to people, in a PvP brawl sort of situation. Unfortunately, that just never became fun, and it never moved anywhere. The game just, for whatever reason, developing a game takes more resources and it's more complicated. Even just trying to make it a web-based app with PvP and integrated players across an organization was quite difficult. So that was something that was disappointing to me because I really want to gamify the company and make that part of our culture. Our core values, we have a core value system where we have competition and learning and teaching and eagerness and tech savviness. And those are the sort of things I've been trying to push, and especially at a management level, having extreme ownership and radical candor. So those are some of the things that the culture is made of, and it's been good for us. One of the biggest wins of the year, though, is being able to rank my company for number one organically for Amazon Agency. And here you can see my company in the number one slot, outranking Amazon.com for agency. It's also showing it in the top of AIs like Perplexity, which has been very beneficial to my company to drive traffic to our agency over at myamazonguy.com. And I've really been very happy and pleased with a lot of that development because we're able to acquire new customers from GEO versus SEO. By the way, I've got a video on GEO versus SEO and trying to get optimized for a lot of the AI engines. So, it's definitely something that I think we've been highly successful at. Whereas a lot of companies talk about it, we're actually doing it, and then we can offer that as a service to our own clients. And speaking of service expansion, we've been able to largely expand into direct-to-consumer services for the first time. While Amazon services for us have been static, more competition, less demand, tariffs, higher FBA fees, a lot of challenges. Still very much worthwhile to start on Amazon. Easier to start in the Amazon business than it is to start literally anything else. But still more challenging today than it was the previous year, and so forth previously, right? And so if you haven't launched on Amazon yet, better do it now because it's going to get even harder later. You never know, they might even start gating applications once they have enough sellers. I don't think that'll happen, but it could. And other platforms that have been closed marketplaces over the years like Target, Sears, Best Buy, and many others. These are things now that we're able to offer at our company like Meta ads, Google ads, and website builds, and a lot of all those good things. So that's been a very big success for us because having that expansion allows people not to be exclusively tied to the Amazon platform. We'll always be my Amazon guy, but we're also my Walmart guy, my Shopify guy, my DTC guy, if you will. So that gives us a little bit of pad or exposure into other aspects, and those programs have been successful with people successfully running those, and that also creates kind of another island or subculture as well, because now we have a DTC team and they operate differently and have different constraints, but still trying to pull it under the mag culture and make it work. Reputation management has also been really successful for us. We've got almost 300 reviews on Trustpilot at 4.6, almost 100 reviews on Google at 4.8. And if you're a big fan of the channel and want to help me out for all the service that I've done for you guys over the years, it's all of us versus Amazon. Please take a moment to leave us a review on Trustpilot or Google and just say something nice or something that you appreciated or a way that we've helped you. Make it authentic and real, of course, but that's something that can help us find more customers. And if you've never bought something from me, this is one extra step that you could do to help me out, because it helps create credibility. A lot of people who have been following us for years find us credible, but some random person who's never heard of us, this is one of the first places they check to see if we're a credible agency to help them grow their sales. So your help on that is very appreciated. We'll leave a link in the top comment to get to the Trustpilot reviews. And to end on a high note for the motivation aspect, hard to get out of bed sometimes. You're alone at the top as a business owner, but if you can control your thoughts, you can control the outcome. Here's a picture of me in Peru. I'm mountain climbing, some rebars up a mountain. Very, very fun. It was very difficult, but not as hard as authentic rock climbing, using your fingers on some rocks. But if you can control your thoughts, you can control the outcome, is something that I think is a very effective motivational thing to get your day started today. So hopefully that gets you on your way. Just try and control your thoughts. I'm very big into power versus force, David Hawkins, leveling up consciousness. I love having that meditation moment to really just take it in and do that. So hopefully this leveled you up today. If nothing else, held me a little bit of accountable to just get some content out there. If you want to leave a comment with content you would like to see me create, that is the most inspirational thing. I always try and give people what they're interested in, which is why when I show up to webinars, I often just do Q&As instead of a baked presentation, because I want to do what's interesting to you, not what's interesting to me. So my name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. Thanks for your watching.